Hey, professional wrestling fans, this is The Choice. Matt Andrews coming to you from the Dallas Fort Worth area. You have made the right choice by listening to the Drinkin' at Moe's podcast.
This is Drinkin' Atmos, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's all so mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin' Atmos, where we don't quit. Drinkin' Atmos, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, always a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drainamos, just because it says drinking at Moe's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Moe's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. All right, now that the issues with the damn button are figured out, hey everybody, welcome Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here. You know the drill by now. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff, because YouTube's algorithm continues to be a well-known pain in my ass. We are most places you can find your audio podcast too. Today, I'm excited to have with me. It's been a while since I've had anybody that has gone through the doors of MPX down there in Texas, but I got one now. The Choice, Matt Andrews. How you doing?
Hey, doing all right, Big Mo, and I really appreciate you asking. Honestly, when I first got back into the scene and I started connecting and friending people that were, business friendly, so to speak. I saw everybody getting on the Drinking Mo's podcast, and I was like, I really hope I get invited to be on this. So, it's pretty cool that you reached out to me, and because I didn't want to be like, hey, I want to be on your podcast. I like doing that. I like having people reach out to me. So,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I knew it. Like I said, it had been a little bit, but then I'm like, you know what? I haven't had him on yet, and then yeah, I've been lucky enough to have a good number of people from down there on, and yeah, it was about damn time I get some more people on there. So glad to have you.
yeah, honored to be part of it.
Yeah, no, like I've had people reach out to me to come on, and it's always flattering because when I got started, I was interviewing my friends here local to me in the business. And then I was just like, I'm going to run out of people sooner or later. And I don't want to just be same people on all the dang time.
Sure.
And now, geez, I'm like trying to think. I think this is episode 395.
Okay, it's a good number.
So yeah, no, inching closer to 400. And it's still weird to me thinking that it seems like just yesterday I was having episode 300 with Cheeseburger.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, it's been a wild ride, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. But talking about starting, the way I like to start things off when people first come on the show is what got you started as a fan, and then what got you into the business,
all
like
right.
actually participating.
Yeah, definitely. Both really great stories that I remember entirely very vividly. So starting out as a fan, I was channel surfing in gosh, it's either 97 or 98. I always get the year mixed up or whatnot. Um, no, 94. Would have been 94 because I've been a fan since I was 9 years old. Saturday morning, WWF Superstars, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels versus the 1-2-3 Kid. I
Mhm.
tuned in just as Jose Lothario was walking down the aisle with the click cam. And Shawn Michaels' entrance was absolutely everything to me. I saw that and I 100% fell in love with that. And I was like, I need to know where. And hey, you know what? Advertisement during the play-by-play works because I heard them say, tune in tomorrow night for Good Friends, Better Enemies, where Shawn Michaels takes on Diesel for the WWF Championship. I was like, you know what? I might just do that.
And
So,
not to interrupt you, but that
no,
very show, Good Friends, Better Enemies, was well, there's been one other pay-per-view PLE, whatever you wanted to call it, here in Omaha since, but that one did happen right here in Omaha.
oh, crazy. Well, and yeah, it's a great full circle moment. But yeah, those are the first two matches or first two events, I suppose, that really got me turned on to wrestling, and I just fell in love with the fanfare and the production of it.
Mm,
The music coming out, feeling like a rock star, pyro, the arrogance and well, arrogance, but like I didn't know what to call it back then, but the confidence of Shawn Michaels to come out and just look the part. I was like, that's cool, and I want to do that. Um,
yeah.
and so, like, I got my parents to get me wrestling figures, a wrestling ring. I would, gosh, this would be about the time when like WrestleMania, the video game, was coming out,
Oh
and
boy.
so they had all of the stylized logos for each wrestler. Um, and I would take my time drawing all of those logos. I would actually come up with entrance cards for everybody, and I would do all the ring announcements
Nice.
for that as a 9 year old. And so you can very much tell that that's what I wanted to do because I'd be the one that was like, standing at 6 foot 1 inches tall, weighing in at 225 pounds, Bret the Hitman Hart, and like just walk the figures out to the ring. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so literally what I'm doing right now has been 30 years in the making or whatever it is. Really wild. As far as me getting actually into the business, we laugh because it's an outdated thing, but I was looking on Craigslist for jobs as a theater kid, and I saw in their independent wrestling promotion looking for a ring announcer, and I was like, no freaking way. So it's like, sure, why not? Replied to the email. I remember sending it out saying, like, I'm very interested in ring announcing, but also I have a pretty good mind for the business because I would follow along with whatever dirt sheets were around back then. I had written some articles for WrestlingNewsWorld.com and kind of knew a little bit of the inside lingo. I had ideas for stories, and that's what I pitched. I said, I love ring announcing, but I have all of these ideas. I mean, would it be cool to get in there and bump around? Sure, but I don't have the physique of any of these like wrestlers. And that's what I sent off, right? So I then got a reply back from Stephen Kirby, the founding father of Metroplex Wrestling. And his response really just shaped a lot for me. He said, Matt, none of us that are doing this right now have the physique or the, I guess, you know, ideas in our heads that we're going to end up making it to big time. We're just guys that really fell in love with professional wrestling and want to be able to do this. And we think we can put on a show. And I was like, cool. Uh, uh, Sign me up. So I drove out to Kirby's house, saw their little tiny ass little ring set up in the backyard, introduced myself, um, kind of got a feel for what they were doing. And then they said, do you want to come in and try to take a bump? And I was like, oh, okay. And I had a martial arts background. I had done karate for several years as a kid, and we knew how to break falls. And so I got in there. I did the bump. I didn't hurt because I knew how to fall. And then I was like, holy crap, I I can do this. And then for the next 5 years, I ended up being an active in-ring competitor with MPX. So, um, That's how I started my whole journey into the business back in 2009, 2010.
Nice. That was around the time that I actually got started watching independent wrestling in general, because I didn't get started watching it until I was in the Navy out in stationed in San Diego. And I just Googled pro wrestling in San Diego, and then bam, off to the races I went.
Oh, I had no idea independent wrestling existed back then. In
Oh,
any stretch or form. I didn't know any, and this is going to shock like a bunch of people. I didn't know anything about PCW. I didn't know anything about the Sportatorium. I didn't know anything about the lore that comes with Dallas Fort Worth professional wrestling. Obviously, got smartened up to it quite quickly once we started getting rolling and putting on shows and welcoming in people. But I didn't know Jack Diddley about the area.
no, I understandable. Like I knew a little bit about some independent promotions, but they were always like a few hours away from me, and I was just like, at the time, didn't really have the funds or the ability to travel a couple hours to go to a show,
Sure.
and got out there, and it was literally that first show I went to was literally maybe less than a couple miles away from the base I was at. So I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah, I'm almost kind of glad that I wasn't aware of PCW stuff because like I know everything else in my life would have taken a backseat
Mm.
to to going over there and trying to be a part of it or trying to get into it and all that. So
Oh, yeah. Once you get that itch, it's kind of hard to just let it sit there.
yeah, and I mean even after I retired from in-ring competition in 2014, 2015, something like that, just due to family and life and
Yeah.
whatnot and all that stuff. I still kept up with MPX and I'm like a supreme loyalist when it comes to stuff like that. Like I'll bend over backwards to make sure MPX is on the map and put in the absolute best light possible. Because that to me, that's the place that gave me life, really.
Oh, yeah.
So like that's always going to be where I put my bet. Like if I ever make it to the big time, right, and I ever get a chance to like talk in front of 30,000 people, I'm the kind of guy that'll be like, "Hey, I came from Metroplex Wrestling, however many minutes down the road, and all that." Make sure that everybody knows that that's where it is.
Oh, for sure. Like I know for me, when it comes to the podcast, there's there's a couple different promotions that really, I guess, gave me a shot when, especially when starting out and trying to reach out to some of the, promotions in other parts of the country. And one of them, they're coming back actually, Warrior Wrestling, that's based out of Chicago. And then
Oh yeah.
MPX was another one, because I ended up running into Matthew Palmer at Sammy Callahan's show Revolver
Oh,
at
Revolver,
one of
yeah.
the Des Moines stops,
Hmm.
and then ended up having him on. And I've done some things for hyping up different shows, having different people on, and it's just been wild. Like thinking back to, you know, Matthew Palmer, having him on, and then not realizing until after I released the episode that, where it says the name on the bottom of the screen, that it actually said Athena. And
Yeah.
then uh, Warrior Wrestling getting invited to their fan fest down in when they had a stop in St. Louis, and getting to run into people like Lance Archer and Jeff Cobb and a guy that he had a match against that night, Jonah, aka Bronson Reed,
Oh yeah.
and actually getting to have a shorter episode with Bronson Reed, which was freaking wild. and having my table be right across the aisle at the fan fest from Mike Bennett, and getting to play a little prank on the guy that, as far, I don't know if he's still dating her. I knew he was, but the guy that was, at least was dating Mick Foley's daughter, Frank the Clown. So
As far as
it's,
I know, I think they are. I don't remember hearing anything about them not.
yeah, I hadn't heard anything against them not, but it was just they were trying to figure out where to put his name plate for the his table, and there was this little alcove that had the trash can, and I'm like, I'll put that somewhere, and I just put it right in front of the trash can. And he came in and saw it and was like, "Who's the wise ass?" And I just turned around like, I, I don't I don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
But MPX, nothing but love for that promotion. I try to keep up as much as possible, especially with the people that I've had on. I remember Demo Diamond on at least twice.
Oh yeah.
That
We
was
love demo
fun.
down here.
Oh yeah, no, nothing but love for that guy. And the thing that I know that stood out to me with MPX is you don't often hear about a lot of independent promotions doing weekly shows.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like you said, you were trying to keep up, and it's one of the positives and one of the negatives of running a weekly show. Like, it's a lot to keep up with if it's a weekly show, right? Like, that's basically adding another couple of hours of programming into if you're already watching your mainstream shows and all that stuff for you to keep up. At the same time, how awesome is it that there's a weekly promotion that runs? Um,
Oh, no.
it's definitely not something that happens very frequently. It's yeah, it's one of the best things to be able to have continuing storylines, things that get built up over X number of months, and then also for continuous work. And obviously, for me, ring announcer, like I don't have to be involved in storylines and stuff, so like my bookings are really pretty consistent. But like for those that are main players in Metroplex Wrestling, somebody like a Demo Diamond or somebody like we're seeing now with Dave Sagan, Tatum Manning,
Mm.
um, like they're factoring into the plans pretty much every week, and that's a consistent place for people to get booked, and it's really nice.
Oh yeah, and you hear often about staying in ring shape, and a lot of training and getting those reps. It's all about the reps and keeping in ring shape and having consistent programming on a weekly basis, especially on the independent level. That's like invaluable stuff right there.
Yeah, without a doubt. I always think it's funny too when I see people being like, "Oh, I'm going to be on my like I don't know, like 13th show or whatever, after 6 months or whatever." I'm just like, "Oh, well, we're 6 months in, and this is going to be show like 30 for me."
I,
It's like,
yeah,
well,
yeah. When you have the consistent programming like that, yeah, it is kind of funny because heck, I've just literally I've had that talk with a handful of people where talking about the amount of shows that they've done in whatever year, and then excuse me, but yeah, hearing that and then knowing for you guys, just thinking there's been about double that for you guys at whatever point, kind of humorous.
yeah. Well, I mean, when MPX started out, it was just a monthly show kind of thing. Now we'd meet up for training every single week, but we would throw on shows every month, and then um, once it started to get some pretty good following, we started to move to 2 shows a month, and then eventually, when we got into the current space that we're in, started going to one show or weekly shows, and I love it. I think it's great, and I wish it were feasible for more indies to be able to do weekly shows, but obviously budgets and upkeep and finding a consistent place, it's a little bit difficult too.
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah,
can.
the next nearest thing to that is DFW All Pro, which I'm also a ring
Mm.
announcer for.
Oh,
And they run shows, I don't know, 3, 4 times a month. Not weekly, but it's about as close as you can get.
oh yeah, no, that's definitely pretty dang close without actually becoming weekly. And the before we go into some of those other promotions, there's another like a thing that I noticed. I brought up Athena. It really blew up when she announced the all women's show.
Yeah, Who Runs the World
Yeah,
shows.
and how they're I believe they're I don't think it's happened yet, but I believe the word is about a second one.
The second one already happened. We're actually in
Oh, it did.
discussions for doing the third one.
Okay, wow. I shows you the amount of stuff that's out there. It can be kind of hard to, you know, keep up with everything.
Yeah,
All the streaming platforms and everything, the amount of programming that's out there, it's damn near impossible to keep up with everything.
yeah, I understand that. Yeah, the second one happened roughly, I want to say 3 weeks ago now at this point, and we took it outside of um, the MPX Event Center, and we moved it to a bigger venue, Southern Junction in Irving, and we ended up seating about 400 there, which is a
Oh,
great number.
nice.
Yeah,
That
400 is a good number. We did 400 for the Texas Rumble earlier this year, which was also nice. So those big crowds are something else, man.
oh yeah, no, especially people wanting to support women's athletics and stuff like that, to have crowds the size of that where you probably need a bigger venue. Love to see it. I know here in Nebraska, we ended up, I forget who brought up the idea, but they brought up the idea of having the the world's largest crowd for a women's sporting event. And they had the University of Nebraska's volleyball team play a game in the football stadium
Oh, yeah,
and sold the damn thing out.
love to see that. That's really good. Um, and like this is the right kind of time to be doing it for women's wrestling too, right? It's
Oh,
such a
for
hot
sure.
ticket. I mean, like we're recording this right now on the night of the first AEW Women's Blood and Guts match,
Oh,
which
man. Yep.
apparently was absolutely crazy. But like this is the best time to be a fan of women's wrestling. Like it's taking off. It's great. They're taking the spotlight, and I couldn't be happier to see them get the recognition that they should have been getting for so long.
Oh, for sure. And I'm gonna have to tell people on the Facebook page, no spoilers right now because family in town. I have not been able to watch that match yet, but I am eagerly anticipating getting to watch that because just the thought, like I know people have talked about having a women's blood and guts match ever since the first blood and guts match AEW had. And now that they actually gone and done it, it's like, holy crap, I gotta watch this.
Oh, it's about breaking stereotypes and shattering boundaries and all that stuff, right? Because obviously before all this, nobody thought like, oh my gosh. And before the Hollywood ending match that Storm and Mariah
Mm.
May had, right? Like there's so much that people don't expect uh, women to partake in those kind of matches, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad that it's getting to be more on a normalized thing. I know my girlfriend, Angela Armstrong, back in November, or actually around this time last year, participated in Wrestle Rave's Death Triad 3, a deathmatch tournament down here in Houston. And
Nice.
she was the first female to actually be a part of that particular event. And so
Oh
again,
wow.
it's just breaking barriers. And
Oh yeah.
so yeah,
That is amazing. Like, and me being the fan of deathmatch hardcore style wrestling that I am, that I love hearing about that. I've been lucky enough to have a few of my favorites on. Like, I even got some stuff from one of the people behind me here, but love to hear about it. And having started the podcast and getting to damn near 400 episodes now, I love that I still get to learn about new promotions, new places, but two promotions that I've seen that you have also done some ring announcing for. One of them you mentioned, DFW All Pro.
yep,
Uh, like, I guess when I started the podcast, as much as I knew like a big state like Texas had, you would have a good number of good independent promotions down there, I didn't realize exactly how many when I started. And DFW All Pro has definitely been a standout along with MPX.
yeah, and I'm glad that MPX kind of has a distinction of being around for 14, 15 years, however much it is. All Pro kind of right behind it. But All Pro also has like a couple of branch off brands, so to speak. They have their DFWX brand, which is more their hardcore brand. They also have VIP, which is kind of their upper echelon division, I guess. But that's where all the like big names end up getting to come on, right? So, Killer Kelly, Myron Reed, um, people like Josh Briggs. We've had those come on, and for VIP, I do their play-by-play. But all of that falls under, I guess, the Pro Wrestling Dallas umbrella is what they call that. But DFW All Pro is certainly the show that runs the most, um, and I'm proud to and happy to be a part of all of that.
Oh yeah.
There's so many promotions though that are in DFW in Texas, all within a stone's throw, and it's just crazy to me. And I've kind of made it one of my missions and stuff on my TikTok page to kind of to just bring awareness to the fact that like there's so much independent wrestling in this area. You don't always have to wait for WWE or AEW or any of those guys to come through town.
Hmm?
You can find an indie show every weekend, even if it's not MPX. You can find an indie show every single weekend, no matter where you are.
No, that's the beauty of a big state like Texas, like that, having all of that so close together. And yeah, that's the thing. If you're lucky enough to have an independent promotion in your area, man, you get to see just as great a action and get to sit closer than you would probably ever be able to afford sitting at like a WWE event, especially now. But and getting to be that much more involved in the show, just sitting in the crowd, because you get that interaction that you just don't get at like the nationally televised shows.
Yeah, and it's always great, obviously, when the national shows come around and
Oh yeah.
people can because that's where some of the first timers end up going. They're like, "Oh, it's my first wrestling show. Great. Well, now it's time to branch out. Now it's
Yeah.
time to figure out what else is out there. If you really like it, how can I get more of it into my veins? Well, this is how. And like you said, nowadays with WWE and TKO saying basically like we're going to price gouge because we can. Like
Yeah,
it's
pretty much.
yeah, you've got wrestling shows that can go as cheap as $15. I know MPX is run around 20. There are some that are 25, but still nothing compared to spending $75 for like the top box, like way up in the rafters kind of thing, Like it's
Oh
very
yeah.
affordable. Um, yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I remember especially with some of the prices for like looking up WrestleMania and being like, holy crap, I've always joked that like I don't care if I'm up in the nosebleeds, but good grief, I'll to even be able to come close to affording even a nosebleed ticket anymore, you're practically going to need a pair of binoculars with you to see anything.
Yeah, I mean, and the price of that is essentially a new car, right? And all things considered, I'd rather have the new car, but it's also like, people talk about going to Dallas Cowboys, which that's an experience. That's one of those pilgrimages that you have to make.
Yeah,
Um, except like parking at Cowboy Stadium is like $60 in and of itself, and like that's about how much I pay for a ticket. But
yeah,
then you pay that money for the ticket, you go in, and you're just watching the show on a really big TV that's inside the arena. And I'm like, I could do that at home, probably make better food, probably have a lot more drinks than what would be in the arena for and all that. But like,
oh god, the amount you pay for drinks at some of those things.
yeah, well, yeah, I was just telling you before we got on. I had stopped off at the Mavericks game for something that my mom was doing, and we my dad was like, "Oh, I'll buy you dinner before you head out," and I was like, "All right, cool." And we got a corn dog that was $10, and it's like I could have just microwaved one at home. Honestly, I
Yeah, no, I remember, you know, pilgrimages to different sporting events. I'm a lifelong Green Bay Packer guy.
so is my dad. Must be a
And
Navy thing.
going to Lambeau has always been like a bucket list item for me.
Hmm.
And then I randomly one day, like a couple of years ago, got a call from my dad saying, "So I hear you want to go to a Packer game." And I just told him, "Well, yeah, it's only been on my bucket list for like ever." And then we ended up, long story short, we ended up going to a game, last game of the regular season in Green Bay, damn near freezing our ass off. But
Yeah,
man, the experience of getting to see a world famous stadium like Lambeau Field, and I remember telling my dad the day before when we did the stadium tour that I was just like, man, I I'm trying to remember how old I was at that point. But I was like, I think I was like 40 or damn near 40. And I just remember telling him, man, damn near 40 years old. And I was getting to start to think I might never see this place. And here I am.
yeah. So yeah, I felt the same way about when Mania rolled through Dallas too, right? Like I was like, there's no way I'd be able to, and I ended up lucking into some affordable tickets that year, and yeah, it's experiences you're never going to forget. What I like about bringing it back on the indie side of things is that like you
Yeah.
can provide those moments every single week.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
and you see it at intermission, you see it after the show where you've got all these kids and all these other guys that are coming up saying like that was the coolest experience I've ever had. I'm like, that's awesome. Guess what? Come on back next week.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do it again.
Oh, yeah. And especially when you luck out and you get to, excuse me, get to hand somebody their first ever experience at a pro wrestling show,
Hmm.
happens to be at MPX or DFW All Pro or the various promotions down in Texas or anywhere, and
Yeah, it's
you hand them an experience like that, and then not only do you have one more added fan, now they're gonna odds on be like to people their friends or family with, be like, man, you got to come see this.
yeah. The word of mouth is huge, and obviously, like if you follow me on my social medias at the Choice Matt Andrews, by the way, you see that I promote heavily for all of the promotions that I'm a part of, and I try to do that much for all of the indie promotions just in general. One of the favorite things that I love doing at MPX is we're coming at an intermission is trying to identify who's a first time fan.
Mm,
Um, and a lot of the guys that are there on a weekly basis, a lot of the fans, the addicts that are there on a weekly basis, kind of like try to get in my head, and they'll always put their hand up no matter what.
ah,
And I'm like, no, you guys are throwing me off. But I can always identify who actually is the first timer, and to
yeah.
watch them like appreciate being recognized and called out for that, that's pretty cool too.
Oh yeah. Oh, that they say pro wrestling is all about those experiences, and people might not remember like specific moves or sometimes even outcomes of some matches, but they'll remember how they felt that night at that show.
Mm-hmm.
And getting to hand somebody their first experience like that, man, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's it's definitely special and definitely one of the reasons why we keep doing what we do. You know.
Oh, for sure. And I remember hearing you talk a little bit ago about play by play and doing some of that. I've been lucky enough. I'm hoping to get out there and do more on the commentary side, but I bring the same energy that I would if I were just sitting out there in the crowd. I I I joked about it, but I like to consider myself kind of the Pat McAfee of my whatever commentary team I'm on,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, bringing
because
the energy and the excitement.
the energy, the excitement, the uh, random one-liners trying to get somebody to crack.
Yeah, I
That
do that for sure.
that is me. Like I'm that way in the crowd. I'm that way at the commentary table. I I've even I was just talking about this story at my regular job today, that you don't give me an opening for a joke and expect me not to take it. And
Right.
somebody like the in the ring at the show, they were talking about what was going to be the second show for the promotion. And my commentary partner at the time said, "Man, that sounds like it's going to be a solid second show." And I'm like, "Oh God." Like a light bulb went off in my head, and without missing a beat, I just said, "Yeah, because nobody likes a runny number two."
Yeah, that's
And
perfect. And
he,
like that kind of improvisational comedy is what gets you over on that
oh,
kind of thing,
yeah.
you know?
Like
Yeah.
he literally had to stop for a minute and was like, "God damn it." I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah. Um, I think in order to be a really good, a really successful play-by-play person, you don't, and play-by-play, color commentator, whatever,
Yeah.
you don't just need the knowledge of the moves. Like it's always great to have that, but I think, and one of the things that you take away from somebody like Mauro Ranallo doing it
Mm.
is you've got to have a really good pulse on pop culture. You've got to
Oh,
be
yeah.
able to reference things that are relevant that people can relate to, and that way, if you've got somebody who's a casual first timer just tuning in, um, and you're explaining something and they don't, they have no idea what the gravity of that situation is. But if you can liken it to some kind of situation that everybody's aware of or some viral moment, people will grasp that.
Oh, yeah. And I relish that because I know of the one that always comes to my mind with, especially a guy like Pat McAfee, when uh speak of poo jokes, when he called Dominic Mysterio and describing him like he's a dude wipe after you wipe. I'm like, dude.
That's Yeah, there and some people are gifted at it, and some people aren't. Like they can't think that quickly on their feet because that's not one of those things that you write down in a script and think about. Like, oh, you know what, I'm going to call him this. Right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
there's definitely some certain points that okay, with this person, I'm gonna reference this, but certain moments like that is like, yeah, you can't plan for that. That's just funny.
That's just off the top of your head in the moment sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I thrive in that because, like I said, if somebody says something that just immediately pops up, like, oh, I could make a joke out of that,
Yeah.
bam, I'm right on it. All right. Well, one thing I did want to talk to you about, because me having, well, relatively new father, I'm actually here in, god dang, already almost a year old now. My son, I know I joked with you about the first wrestling show I ever watched with him. He ended up, I joked he was so excited about the show he peed on me. And
Happens.
you have a new little one. I know, well, few weeks old now.
Yeah, he actually just turned 4 weeks old,
That
and
is awesome, and I'm so excited for you. And man, my only thing with these, God, I'm running out of first holidays. Like I just took my son to first Veterans Day program yesterday, and just thinking, wow, the time goes
yeah,
by so damn fast. Like
oh yeah, it is.
people say the years go by fast. I'm not even a year in yet, and I can still remember the day he was born, like I just got home from the hospital.
Yeah, and I feel the same way about my oldest. I have a 9 year old too, and I remember everything about the day he was born like it was yesterday. And it's crazy to see him. Of course, he's the size of, I mean, basically a teenager at this point at 9 years old. But like, I still remember seeing him as a little baby, and it's just wild to me how quickly he's growing up. And now even Elliot right now, 4 weeks in, he's already like increased 2 pounds. I feel like his newborn diapers and his newborn onesies are kind of getting a little bit tight right now. So like I'm like, oh my gosh, I was
Oh yeah, no,
I was able to hold you like in one arm, and now it's just like, okay, maybe I need to have the support of the other arm because like it's a bit much right now.
oh, I know for my little guy, he for ever since about 6 months old, he's been about the average size of a 1 year old.
Ah, yeah,
And I constantly joke that screw weight training, just carry around my little dude for a little bit.
yeah, yeah. It's a workout in and of itself.
Oh yeah, like I oh man, it's just wild thinking that, especially sometimes I forget just how big he is until we get him around other
Other
little
people his
ones
age.
around
Yes.
his, and then it's like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Blaze was around other people. That's my oldest son's name. He was around kids that are 8 years old, 9 years old, and he towers over them. There are some teenagers that he towers over still, and those might be smaller than average, but like still to understand that it's a 9 year old that like could basically pass for a freaking 14 year old at this point, just just wild, just
Yeah.
wild.
Oh,
Um, but welcoming Elliot in to our lives has been nothing short of joyous for Angela and myself, and we're both just head over heels for him, and
oh yeah.
are ready to give him the world.
Oh yeah. No, I feel the same way about my little guy. I know. Oh God, I we're getting to finally the teething stage, because the last couple of nights have
Oh,
not been pleasant. But man, I swear there's times where he flashes me that little smile. I'm like, all right, you're fine.
yes, yeah. Always comes down to like one little thing that they do, and you're just like, you know what? There are no problems, none.
Oh yeah. Oh, I could go on and on, but I have two categories I kind of like to round stuff off with.
Right?
First one's a bit of a name game, and
Ooh, okay.
I try to theme it towards the guests as much as possible. And I mean, I had one list here, but you know, I've had a couple other ring announcers on, and I got the idea after one that I'm like, you know what? Each of these people are going to be names that at least I myself, would consider pretty fun to do a ring announcing for.
Oh boy. Okay.
So I give you the name, first thoughts that pop into your head.
Okay. So we're just doing name association. First thing that pops into my head with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first one, and he also hails from the great state of Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and he is also the one wrestler that would probably get me absolutely starstruck to the point that I don't think I'd be able to get a word out. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Um, Arguably the most recognizable person in wrestling. There's going to be a lot of people that say that it's The Rock. But for my money, nobody was more on top of the world in professional wrestling than Stone Cold Steve Austin was.
Oh,
And what he did during the Attitude Era to just carry it, just the feud with the McMahons, could keep people satisfied for ages. Uh,
oh yeah.
and and the fact that he kept evolving his character only to be able to end up in the kind of with that same Stone Cold persona, um, it's remarkable.
Oh yeah.
Truly on a Mount Rushmore of greatest in history.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely on that for me. And I just know, yeah, if I ever got to meet him, I would just be
Yeah, can't
like,
talk.
holy shit, you're actually there.
Yeah.
And uh, I I was always a Stone Cold guy, and you know what? I would tend to agree with you there that it when I think back to people talking about like when the launching pad for the Attitude Era really started, one of those points that pretty much everybody talks about, like really shooting it off into the atmosphere, was that very first Austin 316 promo.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then also the feud with Hart, the double
Mm,
turn.
that too,
Um,
yeah.
and I think very few people realize the significance of that particular match and that particular event in marking off the quote unquote the Attitude Era.
Oh, for sure. Now, next one.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I would just have a lot of fun trying to do this one. Just trying to do my own version of this ring announcing job from Samantha Irvin, how she used to really get into this one. And I'm talking about, and don't laugh at me too hard here, but Chelsea Green.
Oh, I love it. Hold on, can you hear me? Because
Oh, yeah.
my AirPod died out. Okay, there we go. No, Chelsea Green. So, I on my TikTok channel that I run, I do a whole bunch of just how I would announce these wrestlers,
Yeah.
and I I do Chelsea's, and I do it in the way that Samantha Irvin did it. Now, what I take away from Samantha Irvin doing Chelsea Green like she does it, the Chelsea Green, um, it's okay to give, and I love giving people their own flair on their
Yeah. Yeah.
introductions. I think it sets them apart. I think it gives them kind of different cues as well,
Mhm.
to be able to do their entrances off of. Because if there's anything we learned from basically the black and gold NXT days and from when Triple H started taking over bookings and stuff, is that choreographed entrances really resonate with people.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
most of, and I'm the guy that got hooked on Shawn Michaels coming down to the ring, right? So you hook a lot of people based off of that entrance, right? Everybody goes like, oh, if I were a wrestler, I come out to this music. If I were to bust into the office with my music playing, this is what it would sound like. So it's about the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like you always imagine what it would sound like when somebody would say your name. And I think it's uber important to be able to give people that kind of a unique entrance. For us down here, it's drawing out Demo Diamond's name, right? The Shiny Truth, Demo Diamond. And you can see when he gets in the ring, he waits for that cue for me to say Diamond
Mm-hmm.
before he completes his pose. Um, Somebody like Brick Savage, and they come out and they do their entrance. And a lot of ring announcing for me is timed with music. There are certain cues that Brick has in their music that that's when they want to strike their pose. And when you hit it just right, it looks phenomenal and it translates so well on camera and on video. So yeah, that's basically what I was trying to say was that I take away from the Chelsea Green introduction is that people remember that. That's a
Oh, for
huge one.
sure. Yeah, and you bring up Brick Savage, man. That wow. When I first saw that clip, and I told them about this, that the clip that went quite viral, that I told them literally reminded me of the scene from one of the Avengers movies where Hulk literally whips around Loki by his leg and just and
Oh yeah.
he did that, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, they just did it again recently at one of the shows down. I don't remember if it was Baracho or if it was another one, but the first time I saw them do that was to Man Man up here. And Man Man was trying to like scurry out of the ring, but like on his belly and trying to back away. And Brick just grabbed him and just choked him. And it's always fun to see a big powerhouse like that do one of those moves to one of the smaller people,
Yeah.
because the entire collective gasp of the audience in attendance, it's just fun to see because like the body hits the canvas and every single person in that arena goes, "Oh!"
Yeah. Oh man. That yep. That we talk about people, giving people experiences. That one, witnessing that live would definitely be an experience where you're like, you don't forget that moment.
No, definitely not.
Now, next up, this one I think would be a little tricky, but still fun because of just how, I guess, nonchalant this guy's entrances are. But freshly squeezed orange.
Orange Cassidy. I thought like as soon as you said nonchalant, I was like, he's gonna bring up Orange Cassidy.
Yep.
Um, I would love to do the Orange Cassidy entrance. But someone I got a chance to do that's kind of along that same lines. That I remember I remember telling our video person afterwards, I was like, if I ask you to make a highlight reel of names that I introduce, you need to include this one. And it was Danhausen. Um,
Mm.
and the very good, very evil. Gotta love that Danhausen. Like I have so much fun with stuff like that. And I love the fact that Orange Cassidy's thing is just like, from wherever. Like,
Mm.
whatever. Like it's such a unique character and I love it. I know a lot of people give it a lot of grief because it's almost a mockery of things, but in the end, like there's so many characters that get over that are quote unquote mockeries of what we do, but end up tying in and making everything fun, which is what professional wrestling should be. Professional wrestling is a variety show, guys.
Oh yeah.
Like
Totally.
it's akin to Saturday Night Live where you get a little
Yeah.
bit of everything. You get some of the cruiserweight action that's super
Yeah.
fun and high flying and flippy. You've got some of the technical
Mhm.
stuff. You've got a powerhouse that's going to throw people around, and then you've got some of the comedy, whether
Yeah.
that's somebody like Orange Cassidy or Santana Jackson, who I
Mm.
also got a great a chance to introduce at one of our events. Um, but that's the kind of stuff that rounds it out and
Oh,
provides
for
more of
sure.
that experience.
Oh yeah. With Orange Cassidy, I get a kick out of it when, it's almost like starts out with the, the little low speed kicks where he's like, yeah, barely lifting his foot up. And then like you see the start ramping up, and I'm like, I get a kick out of that.
And I think it's important too that for Orange Cassidy especially, it's not just that. Because like he does that and then he goes. Because the guy can go,
Oh,
you
you
know?
can, yeah.
Um and that's the other part is that like yes, he's doing all of this as kind of like a front, as kind of like he's something to throw his opponents off and stuff, but then like he actually can like rev it up and get into it. And I think that's super important too.
Oh, for sure. Now, last but not least, here, I know we haven't seen too much of them, and god dang, how long has it been? But it's almost like when you hear the announcement, you don't even have to watch, but you can see the whole motion from Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
DMD.
Like you can see the whole pointing down at each letter.
Yeah. And again, that goes into the idea of creating unique entrances for people where the crowd can chant along. That's ultimately what a fan of a professional wrestling show wants. They want to be able to be included. They want to be able to do the chants along with their favorite wrestlers. They want to be able to um, kind of do the thing along with their favorite wrestlers. And DMD, or I'll throw one at you, kind of in the same vein. It's funny we're talking about Britt Baker, but also Adam Cole, baby.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, no, you gotta do the whole arms up and baby. Yeah, you gotta do it.
And even as an announcer, you've got to be able to you've got to give that space to breathe, right? If I'm going to announce, from Panama City, Florida, I'm not going to say, Adam Cole, just like, Adam Cole. No, you've got to be able to give that edge, the
Oh
little inflection in your voice where everybody can finish off the cadence by going, baby.
oh yeah.
Yeah. And then also in the same lines of arm motions and stuff is RVD.
Oh
You,
yeah.
you don't just say Rob Van Dam. No,
You,
you
know,
give the
you
pause,
pause,
wait.
and then if you like, you might be holding the microphone in one hand, but the other arm, you're just wanting to do the point at each one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of those things where it's hard to teach people or tell people how to be good at ring announcing, right? Because I've had people ask that where they're like, "Oh, can you teach me how to ring announce?" And I'm like, part of it, yes, part of it, no,
Yeah.
because some of it you just have that natural inflection and that natural cadence, but certain things where it's like, hey, pause here, wait for the wrestler to put their arms up because they're going to do RVD, and then just
Yeah.
do it along with them. Um,
Oh yeah.
you got to constantly be watching. You got to pay attention to the show. You got to pay attention to the characters, and you got to understand what makes them tick. And you got to understand the situation. If it's a grudge match and somebody just dissed somebody's family or baby or something like that, the announcement coming out of my voice for that character coming out is not going to be all like super happy go lucky. It's going to take on a dark undertone because I'm setting the stage.
Mm.
You've got to set the stage for the battle that's about to come.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
and that's, I think, one of the little minute details in ring announcing that can kind of get lost from somebody who's just trying to get their voice over.
Oh yeah. And you think about it, that for especially those that are there in person, they don't get the added storytelling from you know commentary. They'd have to go watch it back when they get home.
Mm-hmm.
For those, especially those there in person, ring announcers, that's where the jumping off of the excitement goes to. And much like, a lot of wrestlers will say, feeding off of the crowd will definitely feed off of a good ring announcer when they can sense that that guy is getting the excitement going. Bam, they get right along with it.
Yeah, I think it's important that the ring announcer has a pulse on the crowd too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to be able to, it's part ad lib, part improv, which of course professional wrestling is as well, right? You got to listen to the crowd. It's the same way. Wrestlers will be told in their matches, you've got to listen to the crowd and then kind of adapt your game plan and your motion to that. The ring announcer kind of has to as well. Sure, there's a
Oh yeah.
script, there's a show to follow, but like you got to be able to kind of understand, okay, crowd needs to be jazzed up a little bit more. The crowd needs to understand this is what's coming out next, and to get ready for it. Or like, hey, go get your popcorn now because you're not going to want to miss this.
Oh yeah. Like, before we move on to my next category I have here, perfect example of, maybe switching things on the fly like that is that, I mean, jumps out to my mind, Rock Hogan.
Oh yeah,
Like the
yeah.
crowd, like people would think, before the match, oh, cheering for The Rock, but man, the way that crowd just flipped it on, cheering Hogan, and then you could just see the look on them, especially Hogan, thinking like, "Holy crap!"
Oh yeah.
No, for sure. Now I got some random questions, some wrestling related, some not.
Okay.
That's why random. Now, first one that I like to lead off with: craziest in match moment that you were either wow, words are hard. Either there, happened on a show you were ring announcing for, or if you want to think back to one that happened during one of your matches back when you were, you know, in the ring yourself, craziest in ring moment.
Yeah. I can take it back to when I was initially MPX champion. Um, One of the first shows that I came out and did, I was all set and cutting a promo uh, to open the show, and a wrestler that thought he was booked, but apparently was not, and kind of took umbrage with that, came out through the crowd.
Mm.
And he was not invited, he was not booked, he was told to go home, came out through the crowd. I had no idea what was going on.
Oh,
Um, he came in the ring, he took the mic, he started to cut a promo on me, and I had to try my absolute hardest to um, kind of rebound off of that and kind of riff along with him. And eventually, the security that we had, which was really just security that's, I don't know, the trainees at the time,
yeah.
they had to come in and kind of get him out. And yeah, I was scared because I did not know if he was going to start trying to throw punches or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that definitely ranks up there with one of the crazier moments and almost like really scarier moment for me.
Oh, I can only imagine. Wow. Yeah, that would be intense. Now, we talked in the name game category of people that it would be fun ring announcing.
Hmm.
Has there ever been anybody where that's not necessarily their personality, but just was a little trickier for you ring announcing?
Oh, every week it's going to be House Sagan. Um, Dave Sagan down here at MPX. For those who don't know, they House Sagan is a cult. Don't let them tell you any differently. They'll say they're a community, but they're a cult. Um, and their ring announcement is it's a different exotic island locale every single week.
Oh,
And their manager, their SVP of recruitment and ideological purity, Isaac Mazer, um, gives me a different island locale every single week. And it's about, I don't know, a full 5x7 index card long.
no, jeez.
And it's a source of pride for me to be able to actually announce it. But by the end of it, I am visibly winded. I also have that up on my TikTok channel as the weekly House Sagan entrance.
Ah,
And you can see a couple of those particular entrances.
oh, I'm definitely gonna have to be going and getting to looking at those because that just sounds like I would definitely get some entertainment out of that.
Yeah.
Now, one thing about the great state of Texas is, some people have seen the memes of, like a road sign and be like one town, like we'll say Amarillo.
Hmm.
And then the next one down, it'll say Houston. And it'll be like Houston tomorrow. Now
Yeah.
that would lead to a lot of long road trips. What would you say a song or two that you would have on a road trip playlist?
Oh gosh. Man, I that's tough because there's a lot of music that plays in my head on a rotating basis. Um, anything from the Chili Peppers,
Mm,
anything from Queen, anything from Zeppelin, Styx, Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam. Um, God, I could go on and on,
they,
but just keeping basically a playlist featuring artists similar to that, it would be what I have.
gotcha. No, I can respect that. I know I'm huge into some of those. I my wife, especially after meeting her, had become huge into country music, and she actually booked us a trip already to when Luke Combs is going to be playing at Iowa State's football stadium, and he, this will be our second football stadium show of his. Our first one was Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City,
Hmm.
and it'll actually be our like 12th concert of his since her and I met,
Geez, 12
and,
concerts.
and we actually got to meet him before the Arrowhead Stadium show.
Oh, well, what a what a great opportunity for you.
Oh yeah. No, I was like, holy crap, we're actually meeting him, and my wife being the uber fan of him, that she was a little teary eyed, and I'm like, well, I can't blame you if I were meeting somebody that I was a uber fan of, like you are of his. I might get a little choked up. I'll admit. I ain't afraid to admit it.
Sure.
Now, with the name of a show like I have, I feel like I have to ask this one. Favorite drink, alcoholic or otherwise? Because I know I've had plenty of people on that for one reason or another don't drink, so I try to be inclusive of everybody.
Sure. So I one of my shoot jobs a few years ago, I used to run the restaurant and bars program at a hotel.
Mm,
And so I was responsible for coming up with a whole lot of different drinks. Um, I since being out of that industry, I don't really drink anymore, and also my girlfriend is also sober, going on
mm.
over 1,000 days strong, which I'm
Oh
incredibly
wow,
proud of her for.
for sure.
I think it's surpassed 1150. I think is what it is, but it's a lot, and I'm incredibly proud of her and very supportive of the journey.
Oh, for sure.
Um, but back when I did make drinks and stuff, I had two go-tos that I always loved. One was a really good Manhattan. I love
Mm.
doing a 3-to-1 rye to sweet vermouth ratio on a Manhattan. Um, and then one of the other drinks that I always made around this time of year was a maple chocolate old fashioned.
Ooh.
Yeah, so instead of the simple syrup, use maple syrup, and then instead of regular bitters, you'd use chocolate bitters, and then just make the drink as normal. And then for funsies, to flame a little orange peel on top of it.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was one of the drinks that people always requested around this time of year for me.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds fucking delicious. All right. Well, last but not least here, best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling.
Um, Find a reputable school. Um, and reputable usually means that the trainer or some product out of the school is somebody of note and of name. Which I know is ironic because when MPX was starting out, there were no names. There were a couple of guys that were trained from the PCW era, but like nobody that anybody would know nowadays or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, but now MPX, obviously the lead trainer is Athena there. Um, DFW All Pro, Lou Gotti has been mentioned in several pro wrestling publications. Like for instance, the PWI Top 250 for women came out, and Maya World was on it, and of course it says on there trained by Lou Gotti. So
Oh yeah.
if you can find their name in a PWI magazine and then find their school, that's usually what it is. Get trained, but also like pay attention, learn everything. Don't just resign yourself to, oh, I'm just going to learn wrestling and that's it. Learn how to ref, learn how to announce, learn what the commentators look at, learn what the production team looks at. That'll only make you a better wrestler in the long run because you got to know what everybody's looking at in order for you to play to what they're all looking at.
Oh yeah. And I can only imagine if you're learning all of those different things, it could just lead to, hey, eventually you got a booking there because they remembered, hey, when we needed whatever it was, that person jumped right in and was able to take care of it. And then you
Hmm.
get that reputation of being somebody they can count on, and then bam, there you go.
Yeah, I kind of like calling myself, well, not me calling, but like Walker Stewart called me a Swiss Army knife, and I was like, that's kind of cool. Swiss Army knife of professional wrestling. I could deal with that.
Hey,
That's
that good little thing to be called there for because yeah, a little bit of everything there.
yeah. And
No,
I think that's important in life in general, just
oh,
to
for
be able to
sure.
know a little bit about everything.
Oh, for sure. Now, where can people find you social media wise so if they don't already have their eyes on you, they can go ahead and get them there? I know you did mention uh, part of it earlier.
Yeah, on TikTok and also on Instagram, it's the Choice Matt Andrews. And then on Twitter or X or whatever, it's actually NTX Wrestle Voice.
Hmm.
And so those are the areas where you can find me there. And kind of nice timing for you to be wrapping it up because I can hear Elliot getting ready to blow the roof up of things.
Well, yeah, no, we're getting ready to wrap it up. I'll make sure we get all of that into the description. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. Been an absolute pleasure, and you're welcome back absolutely anytime.
Thanks, Big Mo. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you for inviting me on here. It's definitely an honor to be included on your podcast.
You're very welcome. Like I said, it was an absolute pleasure. All right, now tread it my issue. Hopefully, I don't have